All right, everybody, welcome back to a special episode of Culz Reviews. Kind of just a short episode. We'll keep it to about like 10-15 minutes, but I think we're going to try to talk about Shark Week 2025 each day. Hopefully, after today, we'll have Matt and Sam be able to join, and maybe some other guests. It just kind of depends on where everyone is at. But yeah, Sunday the 20th was the kickoff for Shark Week 2025. And this is a series that's been going on for quite some time with Discovery Channel, and at least early on was getting some pretty positive reviews. Later in its time on the network, definitely had some rough patches, especially one year with the fake Megalodon stuff, and I guess they followed it up the next year as well. So it's been kind of, I guess, rehabbing its image the past few years, and so that brought us to Shark Week 2025. Always pretty excited for Shark Week. It does have a little bit more competition now than it did, obviously, when it started with National Geographic. I think they do like an entire month of shark content, so a little bit different over there. We get a lot more shark content, a little bit more honed in into like documentaries, though they do have like the Shark Attack series, which I think is just kind of boring because it's kind of the same stuff over and over, and it's really not learning anything new about sharks. So I guess on that note, let's jump into Shark Week 2025. And with all the talk that I had about them rehabbing images and whatever, they had a super bold pick about what they were going to start the season off with, and that is Dancing with Sharks, which was just terrible, just awful. Um, I think it would be bad enough to watch it by yourself, but watching with other people gets you to the point where you're like, you feel kind of embarrassed to be watching something. And I went on internet and looked at some other people's just talk about what they were feeling, and it looks like the feeling is pretty concise across the board. Again, I don't know why this was in Shark Week. It's weird. It really doesn't tie in with the sharks. It's about five contestants dancing underwater while trying to feed sharks, and there's people voting on it on land, some judges, and then there's a final face-off between the remaining three after two have been booted off. And wow, yeah, it's a doozy. It seems like something that would be better off on TLC. Uh, and I think considering what Shark Week is supposed to be about, like, yeah, obviously a lot of it has become more theatrical and stuff, whatever, but like try to be somewhat educational, like get people into wanting to learn more about sharks. What I see coming from this one is people getting in situations where they're trying to recreate like shark dances and getting bit, and then the poor sharks getting like the bad rap because people are going to imitate this. Like it just seems like a bad situation. I don't know the thinking behind this one. I guess there's just a different demographic they were trying to bring in or something, but I just think it was a bad idea. I thought it was terrible. I Is it one of the worst things I've seen on TV? Possibly. And I've watched Sharks of the Corn, which was a terrible movie, but this is on like Shark Week, and I would even say that fake Megalodon one was still better than this. At least with that one, people after watching it went and did their own research and learned actual facts about Megalodon. Whereas this one, like I said, did it add anything? No. Sharks were kind of barely in there, and yeah, just again, I think it's a bad kind of thing to put out there because I definitely see people trying to imitate it. I know throughout the episode they were like, please don't try it at home. People are definitely going to, in the world of like TikTok and YouTube Shorts and that kind of stuff. You're going to see people trying to do this, and it's just dumb. Don't be going out there. Don't harass the sharks. Don't be doing stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. Anyways, they followed it up with their longest running, I guess, series of this whole thing, which is Air Jaws. This time, Air Jaws Colossus. This episode followed the journey to go find the first shark that they got a really good leap from, that they've nicknamed Colossus. It's a shark from, at the time when they first filmed it, in South Africa, which is a pretty famous place for the, breaching sharks and stuff like that. Obviously, where Air Jaws mainly was filmed at. It does touch upon throughout that things have changed with the two orcas coming in and harassing, killing, and chasing off a lot of the white sharks. And so the people we're following throughout are wondering if Colossus is even alive or if he's dead. They don't really know how old he was when they got the first footage, but they estimate he could be around late 20s into his early to mid 30s. So definitely in the lifespan of a great white shark. Now, why are they chasing Colossus? Well, they actually got footage from a fisherman in New Zealand where I guess, a large shark breached. It's hard to tell because obviously there's nothing in the frame to give size or anything like that. But it breaches and it does kind of have a matching scar on the fin where there's kind of like a divot or cutout of the dorsal fin towards the base of, like, the front base of it. And so they go out and try to find it. And they do get lots of, shark breaching. So you get, if you're in for the Airjaw series to see sharks leaping, you're going to get it from here. Spoiler, unspoiler, I don't know. Do they capture some video of Colossus? It's kind of left open ended. Didn't seem like they did because it's just kind of hard to tell. And at the position, you can't really see the dorsal fin where the scar would have been. But whatever shark they did capture at the end looked massive. So at least you get a massive shark leaping out of the water. I would say, following up what was Dancing with Sharks with, the series that's probably the most popular, maybe not the most educational or whatever, but the most popular series running on Shark Week. Smart move. So we went from like a terrible move with however that one got okayed, I don't know why. But at least they're like, hey, if we're gonna start off Shark Week with that, let's follow it up with a series we know people are gonna enjoy. And I can say the just quality of it was a step up. The filming quality, the cinematography and the shots, much better. And you actually get some good shots with great white sharks. So not too much to complain with. Definitely was a much improved step up. Where that one was a 0 out of 10, at least this one felt like an 8 out of 10. They were talking about like a big great white like attacking boats and stuff, which I know white sharks are known to do from time to time. And there's going to be a little bit of recreations throughout here, so a little bit dramatized throughout, but not too bad. I would definitely say much improved step up from that first episode. And then the final episode of the first night was Great White Shark Assassins, which wasn't about great white sharks being serial killers, because we've seen that in Shark Week, but it was in fact about like the orcas, again going back to South Africa, that have driven them out. And they're trying to research why. And some of the same cast of crew go down to New Zealand or stay in New Zealand, depending on the where they were in the previous episode, to go study how the great whites are, acting down there. Do they have any scars? And how do they react to a costume of an orca walking around on the seafloor, which was interesting. This one, I would say, didn't feel like it was still on the same par as the Airjaws series, but considering it was aired on the same night as the Dancing with Sharks one, much better. So I would say probably this one was like a 6. It was okay. Again, you're gonna get lots of like decent shots of white sharks throughout here. I'm hoping we get some like more than just great whites coming up. I know we in the Dancing with Sharks there was like great hammerheads and one tiger shark, but again, they didn't really have a big spotlight in that episode. But yeah, I'm just hoping we get some more just variation in what sharks we're seeing throughout this week. But yeah, I know great whites are the money makers. They're the most iconic. I mean, look at the poster behind us. It's clearly a great white shark jumping out of the water. And who doesn't like great white sharks, right? Super iconic. In this one, we do see, at least in New Zealand, some of them did have some of the scarring that alludes to possible encounters with orcas, as well as at least how the editing, again, it's on TV, we're not 100% sure, but at least how the editing makes it look Like when the orca costume gets in the water, all the sharks kind of disappear, and then eventually they come back. And when the one white shark comes in to investigate the orca, it circles a couple times, and then it goes in for the tail fluke, which would immobilize the well if it was real. And so it shows that at least as hunters and just sharks, they know what to do if they encounter orcas. And this is like a hunting strategy that they've seen on bigger wells where they'll come in and bite the tail flukes and immobilize them. But also, they were trying to test, do great whites have like a blind spot, which I guess makes sense. I mean, we all have blind spots you can get, snuck up on anyway. And so they were trying to figure out where it was, and their kind of working theory and what they tested out was kind of right behind the pectoral fins, with where the liver would have been, is where they're kind of susceptible to having a blind spot. How they tested it is they kind of had like a pole with kind of a nose cone on the front that kind of was painted like an orca. To me, I don't know if this was the best test to it, but at least it looked like, yeah, when they were kind of trying to poke at the shark, uh, that the sharks weren't maybe reacting. I don't know. Again, because it's an orca is going to be much larger than that. So who knows? They also kind of weave in that maybe at the same time when the sharks are looking for food, they have kind of like a tunnel vision. And so if the orcas were to hit them from this spot while they're hunting, it would give them the best opportunity to kill a white shark. And again, the size discrepancy of the orca and the white sharks they kept showing was big. I mean, obviously, we've seen some big white sharks get taken down by orcas, and even like I think it was like Deep Blue was getting harassed by some porpoises just because they're much more nimble and fast and actually able to kind of move around, where sharks got to keep kind of going forward. But yeah, it wasn't bad. Again, it does suffer from maybe trying to be kind of theatralized. Again, just make it, I guess, entertaining for the audience, people that aren't just going to be there like me that watch shorts of like basking sharks that just have like classical music playing and just watching the sharks swim through and do their thing. Like that would be so fun for me. But again, I kind of get it. Like not everyone's going to want to watch that kind of stuff. So yeah, so far, Shark Week looked to be off to a very, very rough. It was off. I mean, terrible start, but luckily was able to get better with Air Jaws. And at least while the Assassin show didn't hit the same level as Air Jaws, it was much better than the Dancing with Sharks. So as long as we don't hit that rocky bottom throughout the rest of this series, we should be okay. But we shall see. I haven't really looked at the whole lineup, but I do know Wednesday, I think, is the night I'm looking most forward to just because it has some shows that I enjoy watching the most. And that's Expedition Unknown. Huge Josh Gates fan, so always excited to watch those ones and excited to see that he's in Shark Week once more. Also, that night is Expedition X, which is another one I do enjoy watching. And that night it is ended with Force Galante. So that one I think is the night I'm looking most forward to. We'll see if anything like jumps up or surprises me or just bests any of these other ones. But yeah, like I said, my review would be Dances with Shark Zero. They were like, this is the first, award for the dances. Please don't do it again. Please. I hope they don't. No more. So that was third place for the night. Second place would have been the Assassin Show. I would say 6 out of 10. Like it was okay. It was passable, and I think just compared to the Dances with Shark, much better. And then 8 out of 10, the Colossus. So far, the clear victor, not even close. Just as far as the quality of the cinematography, the story, how concise it is, and it delivers in what it's setting out to do. And you get some nice looks at some sharks. So we'll see what else happens. So yeah, please come back. We will be trying to do this the following day. You'll be seeing our reviews. So we'll try to cover each night of Shark Week 2025 just because we love sharks and this is something kind of new. And like I said, hopefully throughout the week, we'll be able to get like Matt and Sam and maybe some other guests to hop on as well. But until next time, guys, for more Culz reviews, including some like actual episodes, click the link to your left. I believe our last one was Jurassic World Rebirth, deep dive on that one, or at least a talk with spoilers in it. For more about us here at Culz Paranormal, click the link to your right. Should be our review on the Arttoys AZ Ultimasaurus. So pretty cool. Very Jurassic inspired clicks right there. I don't know, maybe just in a Spielberg type of mood, right? Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe and let us know. A, are you watching Shark Week 2025? And what did you think of night one? Tell us in the comments below.